can see the comments. Beautiful.
All right. Hello, everybody. This is Rogue Squadcast. I'm here with Mr. Dash Star Wars tonight on Force Friday. So thank you all for joining us. We are very excited to be here to talk about the latest Star Wars news, some rumors, and talk about, different toys and such that are going on. So, hello, Dash. How you doing?
Greetings, exalted ones. I don't have the lightsaber noise, so I can't go pew, but hello.
It's going to be a little bit different tonight than our normal one because it's only going to be the two of us. But I still think we can make something good out of this. So, here's to that. So, starting off, Dash, did you go out for any of the festivities last night for Force Friday?
So, I used a little bit of a trick I like to call getting sleep, getting up, going to work, and then ordering everything online. Because I didn't have the luxury. I was slammed this week. And I know people are saying that's no excuse, but I knew that the stores would lose most of their best products. And things like the Black Series Kylo Ren, the FX8, the Sphero one, they're all gone. So I ordered all of that online today. And I'd rather wait a week out than to go to a store and just be absolutely disappointed. Because what I saw on Facebook all day and social media was, the 40, 50-year-old guys with like 36 toys, like this, and none of the kids or anybody else having any chance of buying things because people want to resell them. So I knew that was going to happen, which is really unfortunate.
So true.
Long story short.
Yeah. No, this is so true. I mean, last night I got online at like midnight trying to find the Sphero BB8, and already people were price gouging this thing where it was like $200, almost $300. It went insane right off the bat. So, I think so far the Force Friday thing has been rather successful. I think Disney is making a crap ton of money off this, and Star Wars, which is all very exciting. What toy specifically did you go after that online that you were trying to get?
I think it was the 6-inch Kylo Ren. Everything that I bought was Kylo Ren related, except for the BB-8 Sphero, which I pre-ordered on thinkgeek.com because I knew I had no chance any other way.
Yeah.
I believe it releases on the 9th or the 11th.
That's pretty cool. So yeah, I wanted to do a little bit of an inspired unboxing here. So I had found a few things today at Target, and I thought, we could bring them on and, see what they actually are all about. So I went out and got one of my actual new Kylo Ren lightsabers here. So, have you seen these yet?
Ooh.
Yeah, it's nice. It doesn't have any sound effects. I was too cheap to go for the more expensive one.
Oh well, the FX one. I don't even think that would be on shelves, would it?
I don't even. Surprisingly, a lot of stuff was already still out. I didn't see much that wasn't there. I don't think the FX one was out yet, but I was surprised how much stuff they did have. From Walmart to Target to everything else, they had a ton of things that I didn't even expect them to have because I think I live in such a small demographic for them that there were very few people that actually went out and tried to buy stuff last night. So that's how I got this beauty here. So you can check that out. It's got the two little things on the side. I'm not really sure how it works. I think it's just fling activated.
Fling activated.
Yeah.
That's new.
That's a technical term there. Fling. So,
fling activation. I love that it's the junk lightsaber. You can see the wiring on the outside.
I thought the amount of detailing they actually did for something that this was this cheap. I think this was like $12.99. So yeah, no.
Oh man, I want that in my life for $12.99.
Yeah, it was a good deal.
No. That's fantastic.
Yeah. So you went for the action figures. I went for the lightsaber, and then I did.
I got a lightsaber. It's probably that one as well. I got a Kylo Ren costume.
You got a Kylo Ren costume.
I don't want to talk about it too much, so let's go on to your next thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you saving that for a special occasion? Is that?
Oh, I'm gonna save it for. It's called Halloween. The mask is only drops in October, so I've Kylo Ren for Halloween.
Officially announced. Kylo Ren for Halloween. Going.
Yes.
That's exciting. That's cool. I wanted to ask you about did you get the mask that actually has the phrases recorded into it?
No, but I did get the one. I did get a voice changer that comes with it.
Really?
Yeah. I swear. I mean, I can't do an American accent, but I'm gonna just sit there and listen to the reel of Adam Driver because that voice just totally blew me away as well. But
yeah.
I guess we'll get into that too.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about it. So far from what I've heard, there's a few little spoilers from what the toys and what the mask have been saying. Nothing huge, but we do know now that he is collecting the artifacts specifically, like the old lightsaber of, I believe it's Luke's. Yes, that one right there. He's going after that.
Yeah.
He talks about general evil Empire stuff, like he wants to destroy the entire Resistance. So, people are getting really freaked out about all the spoilers now, but I didn't hear anything too huge. One thing that was very interesting that I wanted to also ask you about. People have been saying that his mask could possibly be a refurbished version of Darth Vader's melted mask.
Yeah, I started that rumor.
You're the one. You're the one that started that.
I've been saying it for a long time. I don't think I can claim. I'm not that smart to start a rumor, but I've been saying it for a very long time. I had an epiphany one day, and I was looking at that picture of that old cyborg man concept art, and he was looking at the mask, and I thought, as soon as J.J. Abrams said, Kylo Ren's obsessed with Vader, I was like, what if they had a connection and he melted it down to be more closer to Vader, to convince people that he had that type of power.
Yeah.
And I went around saying it. Now, somebody probably said it before, and by osmosis or something, I think that I magically had the idea, but I've been saying that for a long time, so I'm absolutely an advocate of that theory.
I think it's a very interesting theory. I'm not sure how much I really want to, believe it. I think it kind of goes along with the idea of him being a tinkerer, one that takes the junk. Here, this is not a clean lightsaber. This is not a weapon of a Jedi or Sith that would normally be found. It's very, hodgepodge, just thrown together with the wiring out and everything else. So I think it would be very interesting to see more of the junk side. Star Wars has always been a dirty universe in that respect, but seeing the way that he would be even more to that tinkering with it.
Yeah, I feel like a misguided order that he's a part of, the Knights of Ren, believing that they're holy and, having that crusade-style lightsaber with a crossguard and saying that they're representing something bigger than themselves. But realistically, I mean, it's scrap. They're kind of scrappy. They're not as well put together as they'd like to be on the surface. I love that idea that, it's one of those folds where well, we're a little bit afraid of them, so we'll let it slide. But there's still things that, on the surface, they go, that doesn't quite make sense.
So true. Let's see. So to the viewers out there, comment down below and share your opinions about, about Kylo Ren and everything else like that. We're going to move on a little bit. I actually went out and got one of these today. If you can see that there.
Oh,
yeah.
That's amazing. Is that the RC version versus the Sphero?
No. It's the Sphero.
Woo!
So yeah, I'm gonna try
That's
to get
amazing.
I'm gonna try to get fired up here and see if I can show this off a little bit. I actually very early this morning, I went online, tried to find it on Amazon, sold out, price gouging everywhere, horrible. So I started looking around and I found a deal at Best Buy. Went to Best Buy 10 a.m. and I couldn't find it anywhere. It was insane. Finally, I just went to the lady at the front desk and I was like, I hear that you have this. And she said, what even are you talking about, kid? I don't even know what a BB8 is. So she went looking in the back and finally found a BB8. So you can actually see it here. You put it in drive mode, and then through your smartphone, you can actually start driving this thing around like that.
I am actually speechless. This is
It's pretty insane. It's smaller than I thought it would be, but seriously, it looks very realistic to the actual movie, and the dynamic of the way he's like moving feels very natural. It's crazy. So, yeah. So, well, he also kind of has a mind of its own and likes to roll off tables. So, anyway, that's what I went after on Force Friday.
Does he talk? Does the droid chatter that he does?
So it all does through the app. So that's one thing that's kind of, not quite there, but it's crazy because sometimes he'll just sit here and start looking around, and I'm not doing that. So, but yeah. So Dash, do you want to try this out here? If you just say like, "Hey BB8," you can actually control it.
This is the greatest moment of my life. What do I say? Like
you have to say, "Hey BB8."
Forward.
Hey BB8.
Go.
So it's listening. Look around. So now it's actually looking around and going all over my desk over here.
Oh!
Yeah, it's insane. It also lights up and goes nuts. It's kind of like a cat. My roommate and I call it our pet because it just kind of likes to wander off. So I'm just gonna. Oh, yeah. So crazy. His head comes off, pops back on. So very cool. Oh, I'm just going. It's kind of freaking out at the moment. So calm down. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Also, it comes with a wireless charging dock here, so you just pop it on there. Oh, come on, little buddy. And there it goes. So it's charging off in the corner, so it doesn't go rolling away. So yeah, that's my favorite thing so far that I've found for The Force Awakens. So, did you ever hear the story of how this actually all came together with the Sphero people?
No, enlighten me, please. I think everybody will want to know.
Yes, this is pretty cool. So, way back when they were doing all the concept art for The Force Awakens, they had this drawing of BB-8, this droid, and Bob Iger, who's the CEO of Disney, saw this and wanted it to be practical. He wanted it to be real. So he's the one that actually went out, knew about the Sphero people, and tried to find them and convince them to actually go out and build this thing. So within a day, they had the blueprints ready, and they built this little droid. That's like every Star Wars nerd's dream right there. That'd be amazing.
Proud to be a fan of Star Wars today. Thank you, Bob Iger, for hunting people down and making them make your dreams come true, or some concept artist's dreams come true. Yes, please. Oh.
Yeah. So, there's that. What do you think about the more strange of these product endorsements that have been coming out through for The Force Awakens? Like, specifically, I saw one for a makeup line.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was very interesting that they're trying to widen the general viewership of Star Wars in that way.
Diversify.
Definitely.
I mean, it just fiscally it makes sense. Them taking over and saying, "Hey, we've got a whole new lineup of toys, and I think it's between $4 and $6 billion a year Star Wars toys make, and there hasn't been anything for a good 10 years. Oh, why don't we make a whole day dedicated to it? And then every time a movie drops and there's new people coming out, there's a Force Friday. It's brilliant. Then we move it into makeup. Women that I know love it because they've always wanted something that they can actually use in a more of a Star Wars fashion. And it's kind of like an homage, but they can secretly just use it day to day, but have that cool Star Wars coloration. I feel like, the palette at their fingertips, I think it's rad. I love it.
Absolutely. One of the things I always imagine in my head is like a lipstick lightsaber. That's like the one thing that I just picture all the time.
And that is absolutely amazing.
Somebody should make that. Somebody out there, you can send a royalty check to, Rogue Squadcast.
You press the button, it goes, and lipstick comes up. Chicks would be.
I would marry any woman that had that immediately.
I'm looking at the comments. cigarettes waiting for them to light up, ladies.
Yeah. So, I thought that was very interesting of them. As far as the way that they've done this, do you think it's too early? I think it's been very interesting how they've put all the product stuff out this early.
No, the dialogue-based ones was a little bit... But if you're not a hardcore like us, it's not going to permeate into day-to-day. You know, people don't watch IGN and go, what has Kylo Ren got to say? When I saw Attack of the Clones, and this is no word of a lie, I was waiting in line, and I was back in Australia, and this guy said in front of me, this dad, he goes, all right, I want 2 tickets to see Yoda goes nuts. And that was the extent of his Star Wars. And I went, oh, you know, because he fights Dooku. I was like, oh, that's what you think is going to happen. And it did. It lived up to his expectation. But some, you know, kids, all they see is a green flash or a little gremlin-looking thing, Yoda, or he looks kind of like a Muppet to them, talking and backward. Like, they don't conceptualize, like, they're not at that level that we are. Hardcores like us are getting sated. Like, you know, they're feeding us what we want. Casuals, I don't care. They're just... This has nothing to do with them. I mean, I know people that don't like Star Wars that much at work, and they have seen all the teasers, and that's about it. And so they'll actually link shit to me that's like, stuff to me, I apologize, that's like 3 months old. And I'm like, thank you very much, you know, I appreciate it.
Let's see what some of these comments are saying. Okay, so let's see. Hey Joel and Dash, were you both excited to see Luke/Anakin's lightsaber turn on in the new trailer? It's amazing that the old lightsaber still works after all the time and abuse it probably went through. That's from Raptorman132. You can take that one away.
So, the funniest thing, and this is my favorite thing about this lightsaber here, every single person that has used this lightsaber, and it doesn't always have to be in their hand at the time, but they've lost a limb. When Anakin was fighting Obi-Wan, he lost a couple of limbs when this bad boy was in his hand. It drops out, Obi-Wan picks it up, gives it to Luke. Luke fights Vader with it, loses his hand, it drops out. I would say to Finn, this bad boy is cursed. You're going to lose a hand. Like, you don't want this. This is a cursed lightsaber right here in my mind. So I can't wait. If Finn loses his hand and someone else picks it up, I would be like, this is like the never-ending story of a lightsaber. I love it.
That's so true. I think you might have just started another rumor.
I think because of the ring theory that people go on, you know, how like everything links up. I honestly believe that Finn somebody's going to lose a limb. That it's not Star Wars without somebody losing a limb. I think they'll go one step further and go for a leg rather than a hand, but that's just me. I think that they're going to one-up themselves. Maybe 2 legs, maybe more than.
This is a little bit of a side topic, but have you ever... I heard this recently, that in every Marvel movie, to pay homage to Star Wars, they have somebody that loses a limb, like loses a hand.
I never even thought of that, but that's amazing.
Yeah, no, the CEO of Marvel Entertainment has said that he loves Star Wars so much that he puts that in there just because he loves it. So
that's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, keep sending your questions in. We're loving them. Loving them. We got another one here. It says, I think the new Sith is more powerful than Vader. Challenge them to, and the new Sith will win for his lightsaber. Okay. You guys rock.
Thank you, Xbox Master. You rock too.
You're pretty great. You're pretty darn great.
Bye, James.
Okay, do you guys think Finn and Rey are Skywalkers or Solos? So I assume you're meaning children, TZ man. That's a big question. That's a loaded question, isn't it?
It's a loaded question. I think everybody knows that the whole Rey-Kylo Ren debate of Skywalkers or Solo has been fleshed out a lot, and people already know thoughts on that, and it's all speculation. Nothing is set in stone. Never believed that. However, I love the idea of Finn being a Skywalker or a Solo. I think Skywalker, if it's possible, because when everybody saw an African, because obviously John Boyega's not American, but an African stormtrooper, and they were like, a black stormtrooper, he's going to be related, and I swear they said this, to Mace Windu or Lando Calrissian.
Yeah.
Everybody said that, And then people started going, wait a second, could he be related to Luke? I mean, Luke he doesn't necessarily, once I could be Caucasian, that's not out of the rules or anything. So he could be, in fact, however slim the chance is, never tell me the odds, he could be Luke Skywalker's son, absolutely. Solo, probably not. I mean, I don't know, when you look at Han and Leia, not so much. Unless he's the illegitimate son of Han and
his former
Han's
marriage,
girlfriend. Yeah. You know, the one that hated him and had a shot at him. She's crazy.
Yeah, the one from the Marvel comics.
That would be insane. If it was like Dad and Han was like, I am a terrible father.
That would be insane. I kind of wish they would do that.
I kind of do too, and he turned out to be a stormtrooper. Good job, Han, looking after your kids. You look after Chewie. Why not your own flesh and blood? Dead big Dad.
Oh gosh. Yeah. You know, I think that's very true what you're saying. I think people get so focused on Rey and Kylo Ren as the children, but it could be any of them. I mean, if Poe was Leia and Han's child, that wouldn't surprise me at all. Obviously, somehow there's another Skywalker out there. We know this. This has to happen. The trailer kind of alluded to that, saying you have that power too. Do you think that it could be someone else besides a Skywalker, or do you think it will have to be another Skywalker to take on that legacy?
It's got to be Skywalker blood, so it's going to be Luke's or Leia's in my mind. But again, I feel like how they're trying to be more progressive, and it's 2015, so the whole argument of Captain Phasma being a girl in armor and stuff, that is no longer relevant. So they could, I know that they said that when hiring Finn, that the race didn't actually matter. They didn't actually have a set one. So, I mean, think about this. What if they brought in Mara Jade in episode 8 or 9 or at some point, and she was of African descent? Like, that could absolutely happen in my mind as well.
That would be awesome. We're getting a lot of questions about Ahsoka versus Vader.
We're going to keep that under wraps.
Yeah. Don't worry. We will address that. Do we want to talk a little bit about Rebels, about where we think that's going?
I mean, we can kick it off with the Rebels question. I think that you guys that are watching that are throwing us questions, if you want to throw some out there while we have the kickoff one, that's probably the best. But what would you like to discuss in Rebels, first off?
So there was a new trailer, a little behind-the-scenes stuff. Specifically, Dave Filoni was saying that they're going to be facing a new challenge, new enemy that will have huge implications, which is a very general statement, but he was showing pictures of the female Inquisitor at that moment. That's huge. That's huge. It was kind of talking a little bit about their past, too. Do you think, we've discussed this a little bit, but do you think this new Inquisitor, whether it is the former Padawan, the other Padawan of Luminara, do you think it is somebody from their past that we will know from the Clone Wars?
Well, I just recently learned that the Inquisitor, that we never knew his name. See, I always try and drop into his accent, the Inquisitor.
Yes.
He was the head Inquisitor, so these guys are flunkies. These guys aren't even on his level. I would love it to be Varys. And again, it's speculation, so it doesn't matter saying the name. We've all said it before, and we've all, with the race, obviously. But I think that Varys, with how she left things with Anakin, absolutely makes sense. She was full of hate, and he could mold her and everything. So I think the implications that were spoken about, I thought that there was some concept art that showed Ventress's ship, which obviously after Dark Disciple, I don't know where they're going with that, but in terms of the Barriss part, it's not even a question in my mind. I feel like the only reason why she looks so different is the artwork by Ralph McQuarrie, and they've kind of wanted to deceive us, if you will, just to make it sexier, because again, a lot of people aren't as in depth as we are, so they're probably going to be blown away.
Okay, so Just a little bit. They've been hinting at this thing called Project Harvester, or the Harvester program within the Empire, which is where they take the people off to be tested and become like part of the, I believe it's the Imperial Adjustment Bureau, or so.
Yeah.
When do you think we're going to see more about that? Because there was that one friend of Ezra's, and somebody comments, will have to remind me his name, that kind of just went off to find his sister, and then we never heard from him again.
I think it starts with Zed, like Zane or something. I forget it, but I know exactly who you're talking about. So, Zare, Leonis.
Yeah.
Bingo. So, obviously, it would be very juicy to have his sister turned, and that's where we find her. In the old legends for Jedi, they used to take Force-sensitive children and train them at the temple, sometimes at the behest of the parents, because they thought it was the best thing to do. So to see that juxtaposition or parallel, like, of the Jedi doing it and then the Sith doing it in their own, I guess, more malicious way, is really cool. And I haven't read the novel with Zare Leonis yet, but I honestly believe that is going to come full circle. There's no chance in hell that Ezra will not face, or the Rebels will not face, either Zare, who's been turned, or his sister Dara from memory.
Mm-hmm. There are a few people that were saying that it could be his mother, which I don't quite get.
No. They're freedom fighters to the end. They would be tortured and killed happily to fight for the rebellion. There's no way that they're going to turn Ezra's mother. I mean, you're going to get a lot of interrogation droids on it. I mean, anything's possible. I mean, you get zapped by enough force lightning, it seems anybody turns with enough pain, but I don't think so. And I mean, I don't see Ezra being able to hold his lightsaber up against his parents, and that is a very dark thought.
That would be really twisted.
It would be brutal.
Man. Whew. Let's see what else we got. Do you think any bounty hunters will play key roles in Star Wars Rebels? From Awesome Dude. I don't think that we're going to see anybody like Boba Fett. But I think some of the more fringe bounty hunters, sure, definitely. I think they're definitely going to be showing up soon.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what's happening with Cad, but somebody new who's in the Marvel comics who I'm very intrigued with, Chanath Char, I believe his name is, and he works directly for the Emperor. I feel like that Disney at this point, because they're restarted the canon, they want to expand with new characters and they don't want to refresh the old ones too much. I feel like Chanath Char, who we've just seen in the Star Wars books, or Darth Vader comics, I forget which one, I feel like he would be perfect to throw into, just to weave him in and find like an origin story. Or I want new bounty hunters. I want more, because we always flesh out. We'll always, revisit our favorites like Boba, but somebody new would be really cool. A Force-sensitive bounty hunter is my jam. I love that. Yeah.
Man. Do you remember any of those from the expanded universe?
Cade Skywalker was one. Who was a great grandson of Luke Skywalker himself, and he was pretty he used light and dark side. He switched in between, but he threw away the Force. Or if you look at someone who was a quote unquote a bounty hunter but a mercenary, going for hire, like Kyle Katarn was really good like that, and they were pretty grey. And that grey Jedi's already intrigued me because of the morality behind it, but a bounty hunter naturally sways on that pendulum, so I love to see the Force get mixed up in that, because again, that line of work can be pretty rough.
So explain to the viewers, and I guess me too, what is a Grey Jedi?
A Grey Jedi is the polarity between the Jedi naturally is either a Jedi who follows the light or dark, or a dark Jedi, and that's basically just a Force sensitive who either follows the light, which is a standard Jedi, or a dark Jedi, who can also be a Sith, is somebody who's a dark side. A Grey Jedi, smack bang, in the middle, they don't follow the light or the dark, they just follow their own moral code. Now, Jedi say, well, these guys can be corrupted, and dark Jedi would be like, well, they're not using their potential, but Grey Jedi are kind of more like real people. You and I, who may not tip one way or another. And kind of the true neutral if we're thinking about Dungeons and Dragons. So, they might one day do something to meet their own ends that doesn't help the galaxy, but then the next day may do something that's altruistic, but they don't, they don't identify too heavily with either side.
That's very interesting. It sounds a lot like the way that Ahsoka described herself.
Well, this is really funny that you say that. I love that you mentioned that. Ahsoka's lightsabers in Season 2 are silver, and that was to denote her non-affiliation with the Jedi. So she would, in fact, be a Grey Jedi at this point. Crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, what does that mean for her? Does that mean that she can use both parts of the Force, where there's light and dark?
Well, anybody can naturally do that through their emotion. I believe she still tips to the side of good, but with the Jedi scattered to the wind, she's more... when you don't have the whole rules and whatever, and if she doesn't live by that, I mean, she's been shunned by the Jedi before. She's going to live by her own moral compass. And I feel like the more that, like a cornered fox, the harder things get, the more you have to do them in your own way. And I feel like even Kanan would be my idea of a Grey Jedi. And if you read the Kanan comics, which are absolutely superb, I tell everybody should read them, he's a Grey Jedi because he started as a Jedi, as a Padawan. Order 66 happened. It was harrowing, and it gave him, like, really emotionally, it crippled him, and then he didn't have anything to draw from. He wants to be a Jedi again, but for a long time he didn't use the Force. His connection was weakened with it. He was a drunk. These things. He was a very real character, not so one-dimensional as others. So I'm very intrigued by that.
Yeah, definitely. Within that, how far do you think Rebels can go, since it's on a Disney XD, which is a very, Disney network? Everybody says Disney as a very protective, family-oriented.
Disney, Star Wars, Disney. I saw the Inquisitor execute Taskmaster Grint, I believe it was, and his flunky in front of who was in the room at the time? Oh man, it's gonna come to me.
There was the Ancient Callus was in the room, I believe.
Callus, all right, well, yeah. And but that was the main thing. Callus was shocked. Callus was like, "Did I just see that?" And even I was like that. And I mean, spoiler alert. And I'm going to assume everybody has watched season 1. Otherwise, just turn away from the computer, walk over to Amazon, and go, purchase it. The Inquisitor's death was amazing. And that was, I was like, anything can happen. And they even have stated that if season 1 was A New Hope, they're making progress. Season 2 is going to be Empire. They're going to get beaten down. So this is the time for darkness in Disney, and I cannot wait. It's happy days.
I think so far they've done a pretty good job with it. That they've not let themselves be limited by their own family orientation towards it.
Yeah, there've been some telltale filler episodes and some quiet moments, but for Disney, it's been pretty amazing, and I feel like they're going to keep stretching their creative muscles, so it's pretty good.
The commenters are letting us know that the Minister Maketh Tua was also in the room, so yes.
Tua, and she got a nasty surprise later, and Tarkin, one of my favorites, Steven Stanton, great voiceover artist. I'm very happy that he returned as Tarkin as well.
Of course, recently you said that he could possibly take a part in Rogue One.
I believe that if they used somebody as a double, his voiceover is very pristine. Like, he is very identifiable as Tarkin. He has done costume work for charity where he could pull it off. Nobody is going to look too much like Peter Cushing. I mean, Ralph Fiennes is probably the closest person, but if they go digital, especially, it has to be him, just in my mind. But it's one of those way up things. So yeah, I'm a big fan of Steven Stan, and if they got the digital part right, just bring him in for the voice. Everybody's happy. Yeah.
Here's another one from the viewers. Raptorman says, Joel and Dash, do you think that Darth Maul will return in Rebels series, since Sidious said he had views for him? In other words, do either of you think that Maul will be an Inquisitor? Ooh.
It's a good question, but I mean, if you've read Son of Dathomir, which is canon and it transpired after the Clone Wars, you'd know that Darth Maul escaped from his clutches, continued his war against the Empire, and they lost Mother Talzin in that fight, and Darth Maul barely escaped, and his power base was crushed. The Mandalorians were, scattered to the wind. Like, everything that he had, and he built something up really high in Son of Dathomir, was gone, and he escaped with his life versus Count Dooku and Sidious. So right now, this dude, just watched Sidious kill Mother Talzin. Do you think he's going to come working for him as an Inquisitor?
No.
Not all of the credits in the galaxy are going to get him back. And he doesn't care about money. He cares about revenge. And so then you think, what are his motives? Well, he would take a run at Sidious, but he's not powerful enough, and he had to build a power base to do so. And so watching him build power, because it was pretty unbelievable, him, running the Mandalorians and all that the first time. Doing that again is not the most fun story. Him hunting down Kenobi on Tatooine could happen, but Kenobi would be like nothing compared to Palpatine killed Mother Talzin in front of him. So I feel like Maul's story has nearly been fully fleshed out. Go read Son of Dathomir if you haven't, but it would be hard to write him into the series at this point.
Did they? Okay, and I haven't read the Son of Dathomir yet either.
I apologize.
But did they leave him alive?
Yeah, no. So he and Mother Talzin, basically, he lost a bunch of proxy wars with the Empire. He and Mother Talzin versed Count Dooku and Emperor Palpatine. Talzin sacrificed herself so that he could escape, and he barely escaped with his life, and that was it. He lost his army, he lost Mother Talzin, he had his tail between his legs. They nearly won, but obviously Dooku and Sidious couldn't die in that comic, so that's it. He's just out there somewhere. Doing, but he's not going to be on the Empire side. I promise you that.
So, well, that leaves another couple places he could be. He could be in the middle. And what would be really insane, and I don't know how they would even pull this off, is what if he somehow was a good guy?
So that's something that I feel like Disney would kind of want, and that would kill the character for me. Darth Maul is a blunt weapon. He was better as an assassin who barely spoke. He's like, at last we shall have our revenge. I was like, that's the perfect Maul for me. When he started going mad in the spider legs, I was like, this is a bit out there. And then when he kept coming back and becoming, I'm like, this is a bit out there. Like, the core character of Maul for me is a weapon and just an absolute dark side presence force. So him being in Rebels and being like, I hate it, guys, but I love you. Hug, group hug. He's sitting on Chopper hitting it with a hydro spanner.
Yeah, that would definitely ruin it.
Oh, I would find Sam Witwer and I'd be like, dude,
stop, please. Just come be Starkiller again. We're done with this character.
Yeah. I'll accept Starkiller as an Inquisitor any day, but no, Maul he's out of there for that. I mean, he could help them begrudgingly, but really, he'd never be a part of the Rebels crew, and it would have to be... It's just too contrived to have him actually step into the show and be like, hey guys, I hate the Emperor too, let me help you. Motivation's there, but...
Yeah, definitely. Oh man, what... If he was a bounty hunter, that would be pretty cool.
Again, he doesn't care about money, so... the thing that would be most likely, that would be insane, is if he actually trained Ahsoka. Because Ahsoka left the Jedi Order, and she was very upset with them, and they could have struck a deal. If she said, I want to destroy Sidious, he could actually be the tool, but that's the only thing that I could ever think of. And I doubt that she would help him, but, the enemy of my enemy is my friend, right? Right,
yeah. Well, of course, he would be starting to get pretty old now, too. This is quite a while after the Phantom Menace. He's still not as old as Obi-Wan, obviously, but he's been through a little bit. 40-something. He's been through a little bit more stress at this point than Obi-Wan, being cut in half and everything.
He's a Zabrak. He'll get over it. I feel like his horns would just grow and he'll be a bit more badass.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see what else we have. I have a question for Dash and Joel. Do you think that Minister Tua was referencing the Death Star in Siege of Lothal? Joel, I think your theory crafting is true. Okay, I can take that one then.
Sure.
So, absolutely. I think that when Make of Tula was talking about the Emperor having plans for Lothal, I think that's what you're referencing. She is definitely referencing the Emperor's plans. And the Emperor's plans are definitely talking about moving closer and closer to, controlling Lothal. For what? For Kyber crystals, which, as Pablo Hidalgo has said, were major in the Death Star plans. So, yes, absolutely. I think that that's where the show is slowly going. They're not going to overstep Rogue One, obviously, because movies trump television all the time. That's just how it is. So, yeah, I think they're definitely referencing the Death Star very subtly. Let's see. Keep sending in your questions, guys. We do love them. What else? I feel like the first test of the Death Star should be blowing up Lothal. That's brutal.
Idea.
That's very brutal.
Tarkin kind of hinted in episode 4, he's like, I want to test out the capabilities of this thing. So I feel like the first shot at Alderaan was the first time they tried it on a planet.
What if it was a failed attempt, though?
It could be, but...
That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that they're going to have, like, the full Lothal gone. That would overshadow the whole tension of episode 4. Okay, Awesome Dude says, do you think that the Rebels can introduce Han Solo? Interesting. Possibly. But I don't know how likely that is. I mean, obviously they're set in the same time period, so Dave Filoni can do what he wants. He's already brought back Lando, so...
Calrissian. Han... If they do an anthology film, they're not going to introduce him. They'll do an Origins, just like Boba Fett. Well, not so much Boba Fett as a kid, but you know what I mean. Han, fleshing out Han in his early 20s, which he would be around that time. When he meets Chewbacca, I mean, the legend story was that he was a cadet on Carada in the Imperial Academy, and that an Imperial officer tried to hurt Chewie. I think he tried to whip him or something, and Han intervened and was left with disgraced, and so he couldn't get a job anywhere and became a smuggler. Fantastic story. It needs to be retold. Will it be retold in Rebels? I feel like that's a waste compared to getting Anthony Ingruber on screen and giving him his own anthology film. People love Han Solo too much to throw that away. Unfortunately, Lando is technically a B character when it comes to story in that regard.
Yes. I don't think that they are going to approach that because obviously they are thinking about doing an anthology film. So, what else do you see there, Dash?
You think the Rhodes will be able to fight Obi-Wan Kenobi?
Okay. Man.
Oh, the Rhodes, the Rebels. I don't know why you typed it twice. The Rebels will be able to find Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Absolutely. I think we're getting very close to having Obi-Wan at some level in the show. It's getting harder and harder. But that's tough. I could go either way on that one. Dash, what are you going to say?
It's easy to find him. They know where he is. That's the finding's not the hard part, because Fulcrum, Ahsoka working with Bail Organa. At the end of episode 3, Bail Organa, literally, Yoda says, I'm going to Dagobah. Obi-Wan goes, I'm going to Tatooine. And Bail says, I'm taking this kid to Alderaan. Oh, he knows where Kenobi is. Why he hasn't pulled him into the fight, I mean, I've done a whole video on that and yelling, but yeah, I mean, they could. It depends on Filoni, how much he loves the characters, which I'm going to shamelessly segue into the next question, if I may.
Absolutely.
Which unconfirmed Jedi do you believe survived Order 66? And we've got Lucas hinted at Kist Fisto surviving, as well as having more plans for Quinlan Voss, not ignoring his fate in Dark Horse comics. We have to ignore his fate in Dark Horse comics, but we won't ignore it in Dark Disciple because that book is canon. Dark Horse is not so much anymore.
Yes. Ooh. I know a lot of fans have been very, very vocal about wanting Mace Windu to come back. That's a tough one too, because if Star Wars reverses death so easily, then eventually death becomes meaningless to it. This is one of the same problems that Marvel's having right now, where if you kill a character and then bring it back and then kill it and then bring it back, first off, I can't ever trust that once somebody's gone, they're gone, and second, their death has no weight.
That's the nature of comics. I'm unfortunately to say one of my favorite characters was Darth Maul pre-death, but the whole no torso sustaining himself through the Force. See, when he went insane and had his spider stuff, I could understand if he had his full faculties mentally and that it was his hate that was keeping him alive. But the fact that he was mad and he could sustain that didn't make sense. I'm like, he's that powerful. He doesn't even need his brain switched on 24/7 and he's, half a shell. That was a little too much for me. So someone like Plagueis or Sidious sustaining themselves with their mentality, absolutely. But Darth Maul was more of a weapon and a tool and a blunt instrument, so he wasn't even trained that way in the dark side. So that kind of stuff does upset me, and I don't like it too much. But Windu is one of the only Jedi really that I could see that could do that, to be honest, to pull that off.
Naomi, you're poking the bear. So let's see, Joel and Dash, do you think Darth Vader will be stronger or weaker due to the fact that Ahsoka is his former Padawan? So, obviously, I think that Darth Vader will be weaker, as this is something that will take an emotional toll on him. This is something that his Padawan, that he had such a close connection with, almost like his child, would have such an impact that he wouldn't have that full power that he normally does. What you say, Dash?
I feel like the man that was once Anakin Skywalker was betrayed and murdered by Vader. Vader sees Ahsoka as betraying him when she left the Order because he has such a fear of loss, as we all know, that he couldn't even handle her leaving. He felt so upset and distraught, and to deal with that, because he's so mentally broken and fractured, he would turn that into anger and hate. So I feel like it fuels him, if anything. When he said, the Padawan lives, or whatever, the apprentice lives, sorry, that was just like, you've betrayed me just like Obi-Wan. Like, they all have betrayed him in his mind. It's the only way that he can justify what he is right now.
Good question.
Fantastic question.
We have one from David Enns. Do you think Ventress trained Ahsoka? No. If you read, I believe is it Dark Disciple?
Dark Disciple will answer that. No,
yeah.
It did not happen.
Do you think Ahsoka will join the dark side?
I hope so.
That would be awesome.
Either her or Ezra will at some point. It has to happen. Or Kanan. Those three. Kanan's less likely, but Ezra, absolutely. He's like my 90%. Is going to do it for a spell, and he has to be brought back to the light. Ahsoka could break, but it would take much more. She is a trained Jedi. Ezra's just a boy, and I mean, you saw him when he summoned that Mama Fearnock. He let himself go to the dark side. He's already halfway there, and Kanan doesn't know how to teach him and keep him structured. Ezra's in trouble.
He's getting closer and closer to that dark side.
I know. Just Vader whispering in his ear for a couple of minutes, and he'll be there.
He'll be done. Yeah. Are the rebels gonna die?
We're all gonna die, Manuel. Act accordingly.
Everybody.
I'm sorry. That is a big question, because you go, well, I didn't see them in A New Hope. Where are they going to be? Not everybody has to die. Just like I don't know the fate of Darth Maul, but he's alive. Like, they can be somewhere out there. To write the story without them all perishing, and so that you feel that sense of completion, it has to be written incredibly well. And I don't envy the team behind that. It's really hard to make that fun and not feel empty and hollow. Like, oh, they're all living on Dagobah with Yoda having a little bit of a party. You know what I mean? Like, It's tough.
Yeah.
But if they all went on to Lothal and they tested the Death Star and blew it up with all of them on it, I would be like, oh, I did not see that happening.
Yeah. I'd like to see how they explain that one away. It's setting up for A New Hope. Because they have a very fine ledge here where they're okay, but yeah, it's going back and forth. What if the rebels get captured? Yeah, I mean, obviously at some point that has to happen. We talk about it has happened for Kanan, but but at some level, if we're going from A New Hope, which Dave Filoni has talked about, going towards Empire Strikes Back, people got captured, people died, things happened that got worse and worse and worse. So yes, very, very, very possible. Definitely think it will happen at some point. Cool. So, transitioning back a little bit, do you think that they're going to put any little teasers, any little hints from Rebels or anything else, set up any mythos going into The Force Awakens?
I think that they're going to do it in Rogue One first. Rogue One there'll be nods in that, absolutely. Force Awakens is a little bit harder, it's a behemoth, but anthology first.
Oh.
So, ooh.
That was weird.
I lagged for a second.
You were just pausing in thought. It's okay.
Ooh, yeah. What's with the emojis? It's because I can't type and talk and think at the same time, so I'm sending you guys happiness. Like, hello. I'm watching you guys talk. Don't think that I'm not paying attention.
Yeah. No, we're watching it as we go. So yes, so I think we need to start moving it towards the close for tonight. Dash, do you want to talk a little bit about when we should expect a general concept of your Darth Vader video?
Okay, so Darth Vader video is absolutely coming out next week, but it might be early or it might be later. I've got a massive lineup of videos I have to do for Force Friday, but the problem with this, other than scheduling conflict, is I also am a little bit of a perfectionist, and it's like a rap battle. You know what I mean? You watch something and you go, "Oh, he's got a lot of great points." I'm not going to go in there and be like, "Hey, I hate your mama. I'm coming for you with karma." You know, like you gotta put it, piece it together. And I'm like writing stuff down, but I'll probably just talk about it. But yeah, absolutely next week is when it's going to come out, and I'm incredibly excited, and I apologize for the delay as well, because I know that I would rather more of a rapid fire thing, but if I was smarter, next time I'd film things out before we even released any of it, so that we had it back to back for you guys.
Yes, definitely. So if you want to be certain that you're going to see it, then go ahead and subscribe to Dash's channel. There should be a card somewhere on this YouTube video. If not, it's youtube.com/dashdingo2, I believe.
You remembered it. And follow me on Twitter and Facebook. They got the same links, just so that if we do streams or whatever, it all goes on the social media, and I keep up with you guys in real time. So it's kind of like this chat, but always and forever.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm at the Joel Robinson, and you are at Dash Star Wars. So you can follow us on Twitter. We like to talk to you guys there. Answer as many questions as we can. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Go ahead and subscribe. And as always, may the Force be with you on this wonderful Force Friday. Till next time, we'll talk to you later. Bye.